Now, before you go out and get fucked up, watch this fucking video and shit. Because maybe, just maybe, I'll save you like a whole fucking lifetime of regret and self-loathing and shit. Welcome. I haven't done a fucking live stream in forever and shit. So, bear with me. You know, I'm a little rusty. I'm doing the best I can here. As usual, I have a little bit of a talk prepared. I'm looking to go for about an hour, but if you guys are awesome and, you know, whatnot, I might continue beyond 1 hour. But, you know, I just want to get on here and discuss some things that are fresh in my mind in terms of nature therapy, which, as you know, my survival videos and my adventure videos are all about, and in terms of my personal journey with alcohol and things I'm noticing around me with alcohol and how people use alcohol as a crutch to get through difficulties in life. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and see who we got here. Big Rig Rex, thank you, welcome. Steven Anderson, who is of course Mr. Anderson, who just called me a nerd, but of course you're here watching, so you know it is what it is. Cat in Canada, Mike Cloud, Maria Duran, Simi Davis, Melissa Lewis, welcome to all of you. Thank you guys for showing up on this very short notice, pulled it out of my ass fucking live stream. We're going to have a little chat. Also, we're going to have some Q&A. Now, as many of you know, while I'm chatting on here, or while I'm giving my spiel, I can't really pay close attention to the fucking chat. So talk amongst yourselves and shit. I will let you know when it is open for Q&A time. Of course, as usual, the Q&A can be on any topic that you want to talk about. You know, as far as the channel and the things I do and the direction I'm heading and the, you know, or maybe I'm wrong on something and you want to debate it. I don't know. Whatever. You know, that's what live streams are all about, is interacting with you guys, giving you guys a chance to talk to me and shit. So, alcoholism. As many of you know, I've struggled with this in the past, and I have, of course, been working on trying to be moderate, as in I have a 3-drink limit, no more than twice a week. I've been sticking to that for the past 3 weeks. So, you know, and that hasn't been an issue for me for the past 3 weeks. You know, I'm able to do my drinking limit and socialize, which was the whole reason I wanted to kind of be social. And I hang out with a lot of friends that, of course, partake, as many of you know. And it's, you know, a matter of finding that balance to where you're out, you can have a good time, you can be a little social, instead of nosediving into some fucking train wreckery that is just completely destructive to your relationships. It's destructive to your personal life, And it really destroys your health also, and sabotages any attempt that you're trying to do to improve your health and well-being. Some of the reasons we do this, that, me in particular, that I used to get shit-faced, it's not that I have to drink every day or anything like that. It's that I would start drinking and I didn't know when to stop, because I would think I'm having a good time, or I would be drowning out some kind of problem or stress or sadness or issue in my life, and I would drink my fucking face off for that. And it wouldn't fix anything. That's the problem with this whole drinking to deal with your problems escapist mentality, is it just masks everything. It makes you not give as much of a fuck about things. However, you still feel everything potently, and it can even make you feel worse in some ways. There's been times when I've been shit-faced and, cried my eyes out, or very angry, or very depressed, and it just amplified it. It didn't really make it go away, and it made me not give a shit about the fact that I was having these problems. And then, of course, when you wake up the next day, and for me it'd take a couple days to recover, the next day I would be pretty much useless. All your problems are waiting there for you. They're just like they never left. Here we are. We got these fucking problems. Drinking didn't do shit for you. And some people I feel lean on that crutch. And of course, many of you have watched, not everybody obviously, but most of you have watched the fucking series that I've been doing where we go out on adventures, and know that Christy got shit-faced on one of these adventures. She has since watched that video and was horrified by her behavior there, and has committed to stop drinking for a while, until such time as she feels she can drink in moderation. And as a show of support, being a good friend of hers, I have also committed to sobriety for as long as she takes. If she goes the rest of her life being sober, I'm going to be that AA partner that is also, not drinking. And in that respect, we both have people to lean on as far as staying sober in challenging situations. So, and Mr. Anderson just chimed in, said, I literally just told Christy that she needs to learn to drink responsibly, not just quit because I know she will drink again, and without learning to be responsible, she will fail again. I agree to a point, Mr. Anderson, but from my own experience with trying to drink in moderation, it's not that simple. It's easy to get sucked down the rabbit hole, especially when you have a lot of fucking issues, a lot of emotional problems, a lot of, things that you're dealing with. It's easy just to keep drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking until you're in a pool of your own fucking vomit, or you fall down, or you're just miserable. I myself, before I started to attempt to become moderate, I had to straight up go a long period of time being sober, and I did successfully. When I came back out of the gate to try and drink responsibly, as in obey the 3-drink limit and not become a train wreck or get shit-faced out of my mind, I stumbled and fell multiple times. There's times when I committed to that and I didn't live up to my commitment. And it's only in the past month or so that I'd really been able to get there, because every time I'd fuck up, I would jump right back on the 3-drink limit and say, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do it this time. And I just kept pounding away until I finally was successful. And it's the same way when I tell somebody to go on keto. They start from scratch, and they, and they learn, every time they fuck up, to get back on the horse and try and ride a little bit longer. And it's the same thing with this, only this is just as powerful an addiction as sugar and carbs and drugs and all of these other issues. I believe that it is a good idea for Christy to take a break from getting shit-faced and get her life in a little bit of order and really just prepare for the time where she can drink socially, which is her goal. She wants to drink socially. She wants to not become the train wreck that she became in that video. And if you're not familiar with the video that we're talking about, it was our trip to Happy Valley. That video, a lot of you guys take a shit on my adventure videos, but there usually is some kind of health and wellness theme or talk or topic that comes up during them. And we'll get into that when I talk a little bit more about nature therapy and some ways of dealing with things that don't require any fucking alcohol whatsoever. In fact, and Christy is here. Welcome. No pressure or nothing now that I'm talking about on this topic, of which is very pertinent. But you got to take the steps to maintain yourself before you can just be responsible. Before you can just jump in and oh, I'm going to drink responsibly. It's not that simple for some people. It wasn't for me, and it still isn't. I'm not even saying that, as I go on with this 3-drink limit, that I'm going to be able to stick to it all the time. There's going to be times when I fuck up, but I'm always going to jump right back on the horse and make sure I go for that limit. And if you keep shooting for it, you can get there. And another tool that I use to keep that moderation is I observe people who are not moderate about it, that are struggling with it, that are having serious problems in their life as a result of excessive drinking. And it's not like I'm sitting out here judging from some strange place. These are all things I dealt with. My entire a decade of my life in my 20s was an alcoholic train wreck. And, it drove people away from me. It fucked up relationships. It was probably one of the more destructive forces early in my life. Not to mention, it was probably a huge contributor to my poor health, my fatty liver, and all the issues I was having along the way. So it's not like I'm inexperienced in terms of being a train wreck. I have definitely fucking wrecked a few trains in my day. And it isn't until the last few years that I started to really try and put myself together and deal with it in a way that, allows me to move forward. So, and Christy is just now kind of starting that journey, and I'm trying to show my support for her, as you saw in that video and as I'm discussing here today. So, there's many ways to escape. Now, I've talked about addiction transfer in the past, and that's taking that alcohol addiction or that sugar addiction or any of the really bad addictions that are fucking up your life and transferring them to other things that won't. Instead, for me right now, the big thing is nature therapy. That's going out on these hikes, going out on doing these survival trips, which offers me a lot of the same benefits of alcohol, particularly in terms of dopamine. It is a reward that generates reward-seeking behavior, and the more often you do that, it will replace drinking as that outlet for dealing with shit. And I have shit I deal with, believe it or not. I do consider myself, to be in good mental health. However, I still get stressed. I still, have doubts about things or, issues, a little bit today even. But I'm able to manage it way better than I used to now because of these steps that I'm taking, getting out there, doing these hikes, getting out there, doing these adventures, these things I love to do that completely take me out of my day-to-day life. They do. When I'm out there, what's going on in my day-to-day life is back home. And I leave my bullshit at the trailhead or at the beginning of an urbex or wherever the fuck we are. I keep that compartmentalized to a point where I don't have to drink on the trail. I don't have to do anything except be there and enjoy being out there. And that's what nature therapy, part of it, is all about. There's actually physical benefits. You are exposing yourself to a diverse array of microbes, which can help reset your gut health and help you in other ways, build your immunities to shit. It's hit or miss. You might fuck yourself up like the poison ivy shit that I had for a while. But it gets you out of that mindset. But I have seen, there are some people that go on the trail and they can't divorce themselves from their life back home. They bring their problems with them. And I've seen it a few times now, not naming names on this particular one. But, you got to leave that shit behind, and not take it with you on the trail. And it's important because you're getting a break from that shit. And you're also gaining perspective because nature has a way of beating the shit out of you while you're out there. And while it's doing that, you are building an appreciation for life. You're building a different perspective on how you should deal with your problems. And some of your problems are going to look like nothing after you get your ass kicked out there. I'm talking about me in my perspective here, on how it helps me. Now, there's a chance that it might not help everybody. I am aware of that. But this is just my opinion on what I think nature therapy and getting out there and really just escaping our problems for a bit and taking a break can really take you out of that. And you can step back, and on your way back, when you're done with the trip, you gain this perspective on things that may have seemed like the fucking end of the world to you. Or might, the sky has fallen, the whole fucking planet's coming to an end because of this one problem you're having. Suddenly that problem doesn't mean as much. It didn't matter as much because nature let you know of what is really important. It puts you into that perspective of appreciating the things you have, the comforts you have, and also minimizing some of the problems. When there's a trip video that's coming out next week where I left my I lost my raincoat on the trail and it fucking rained, and if it would have got cold I'd have been fucked. Something like that just kind of really placed me into in a perspective of, okay, I have it really easy when I go home, fucking bed to sleep in, air conditioning and shit. It's that perspective. And you can apply that perspective to just about all of your problems to decide how much you're going to let them drag you down. And I believe that if you throw yourself into this nature therapy, getting out there, not bringing alcohol with you, not doing anything, not bringing your phone. I, of course, have to bring my phone, but I don't get good service out there anyway. Leaving the addictions behind, the escapist shit that we do at home, leave that shit at home and focus on being out there and dealing with what nature throws at you out there. That will provide the same dopamine hit, because when you accomplish something like you build the fire after 2 hours of fighting against the rain, or you fucking, thank you, Mr. Anderson. You didn't have to super chat, but thank you. Getting out there puts everything in perspective. And I just completely lost my train of thought. This is what happens when you go live. So, because I keep looking at the chat and I'm trying to not get distracted. So, get out there, leave the addictions at home, and really just throw yourself into the moment. Lead a second life, and you can go back to your life and your problems refreshed with a new perspective. And that's what happens to me every time I go out, which is why I go out as often as I do. Literally, I'm doing one overnight a week, if not an overnight a day hike, or an urbex, or a ghost hunt, which is something else we've been getting into lately. And those moments, that getting out there is great. And I have other friends that are interested in going now. People are messaging me saying, hey, I'm down, can I go? And I'm going to be bringing other people out along with me so that they too can maybe experience this same benefit that I started out by myself doing the wilderness fast to try and achieve. So, and once you get out there and you've gotten away from your problems, I think you'll find it easier to be responsible with your alcohol consumption or to maintain sobriety going forward. Learning to enjoy yourself without all of this distraction, all of these things we do to take our mind off of our existence, our life, our self, all of these things we do, you can replace them with this fairly healthy, and I say fairly healthy because you can fuck yourself up out there, way of escaping your problems and escaping your issues. So that's pretty much the gist of this talk, because I do want to we got a lot of people here in the chat, and I do want to open it up for questions. I'll start scrolling back a little to get started, but for those of you in the chat room, by all means, now is the time. Thank you, Ron. Ron wrote, super chatted, good to see you live for once. Everyone do a super chat and distract Scott. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. I'm doing the best I can. That's the other thing with the channel. I've been stressed a little bit about the channel because since I started doing the more diverse content, it was a little bit of a bumpy ride. I think we're back on track now, and I think things are going pretty much well. The ad revenue's not coming back, it seems. I did lose 50% of my ad revenue for no apparent fucking reason whatsoever. Because right now watch time's fine, everything's fine, but the ad revenue's cut in half. Maybe the subjects that I'm talking about are filtered out, I don't know. YouTube is a mysterious beast sometimes. But since I stood up the podcast on ScottTheTruckDriver.com, you guys have stepped up, you guys have been buying it, and you guys have been listening and enjoying and encouraging me to continue that podcast, which will be tomorrow. I will be doing another 2-hour podcast. So I appreciate all of you. All right, Christy. We can talk to the other celebrity member of the channel here. Christy writes, my problem isn't everyday alcohol habit. Mine is alcoholism in the form of once it starts, it's hard to stop. I don't crave it like I do sugar. And that's the same thing for me, Christy, as I've told you in person, but for the benefit of everyone here, I can go incredibly long periods of time without drinking. I can be sober. I know how to, and not just that, but to the point where I can sit in a bar and drink coffee and hang out with people and have a good time. I can, be social with people whilst completely sober. I've done it. But I do feel a little bit left out in those situations, like maybe, because I get offered alcohol in those situations. I get told, hey, just one shot, it's not going to kill you. Or I get that, oh, you're sober, I'm sorry, or they feel guilty sometimes. I've gotten all of these reactions when I was doing the sobriety thing. And I got a little bit tired of that, and I'm like, there's got to be a way for me to be moderate, to where I don't have that issue of once I start drinking, I don't stop. So I'm hoping that, these bouts of sobriety that I do, which are not permanent, I will go back and do my moderate drinking socially. But I'm trying to improve, and also I'm going to show my support for you, Christy, for, by also maintaining my sobriety as well. So, and Jeff Beard, quitting drinking is a lot easier to quit than eliminating sugar from my diet. It's the same thing. It's that addiction transfer thing I've gone over in the past. It took me 8 weeks to get over my sugar addiction. Thank you, Mrs. G, for the super chat, by the way. It's, you know, drinking for me has never been something I have to do. You know, like I don't structure my day in a way. I'm not craving alcohol. I don't crave going to the bar other than the social aspect of it. You know, it's just there. And it's something that I want to do to participate socially in most situations. And then once I get started, I lose my inhibitions and I start to have a good time. And I think that in order to continue to have a good time, I have to keep fucking drinking. And I just don't know when to say no, because once the alcohol's in the blood, for some reason, I do crave it. I do continue. But, if I'm sober, I don't. Like, I don't go out of my way to drink when sober. I don't sit here and Jones for some alcohol. In fact, I have a bottle of alcohol available to me here that I have not touched. And the last time I had it was at a camping trip that was a drinking camping trip, and I did partake. But now it's sitting in the closet and I haven't fucking touched it, even though I could any night of the week sit back and tie one down. I just haven't had the desire to. I'm more busy with this channel. I'm busy going out and doing my thing in the woods and and hanging out with my friends and hanging out with my girlfriend now, and and all of these things that I'm doing that keep me from going into the closet and grabbing a bottle, and that's kind of different than sugar. Sugar, you crave it. Your body's like, yes. It is so used to that dopamine hit that you get from sugar, and it associates it with survival, whereas alcohol is not necessarily associated with survival. Your body views alcohol as kind of a poison and views sugar as in, okay, there's some calories, we're not going to die of starvation, you need to go get more of that. So it's a little bit different biochemical response in terms of how we become addicted to sugar versus how we become addicted to alcohol. So, Anderson Boykin, in what ways would carnivore be beneficial over keto? Also, what is your view on glyphosate? Is it present enough and problematic, possibly causing cancer? That's a whole lot of fucking questions wrapped up into one question. As for carnivore being beneficial over keto, if you are having any kind of autoimmune issues, any kind of anxiety or depression or mental health problems while you're fat adapted, as in you've been doing keto, you haven't been fucking off at all, then you might consider carnivore as a way to take the vegetables out of the equation. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. He wrote, "Fill the coffers, people." This definitely is helping the YouTube numbers tonight. So you guys, I appreciate. There's keto isn't perfect. You can eat shitty food on keto. You can, eat keto junk food. I've done it. I do it sometimes. Halo Top comes to mind. I do consume that at least once a week. And these foods are not healthy and can, stall weight loss or cause autoimmune issues. They can cause as I have the up-down cycle of my depressions and my, elevated mood that smoothed out a lot more on keto, but went away completely on carnivore. That being said, I think carnivore is more of a baseline. It's a good place to start to correct your gut health, to correct your intestinal issues, to correct allergy issues or any of these problems that people find even on keto. Carnivore can fix a lot of these issues, and it's been reported widely that that's the case. And a drink of water and shit. A live show and shit. But once you're do the 30 day, it's accepted that it takes 30 days for the carnivore adaptation, even from keto. Once you do that, you can do pretty much what I did after my first carnivore, and there is another carnivore cleanse in my future. You can start to reintroduce the foods that you really, really want from keto back into your diet, one at a time, slowly, so that you can determine if those foods are causing whatever problem you had to go carnivore in the first place. If you are keto and you're not experiencing any issues, your health is good, your numbers are good, you're not having constant problems with with autoimmune illnesses or depression or all of these other things, if you are good and happy and feeling great on keto, you don't have to go carnivore. I don't know that there's a huge weight loss benefit from it. Some people report yes, some people don't. I myself didn't lose weight when I went carnivore for 30 days. So, but for me, the mental health thing was the eye opener for carnivore, like not experiencing any lows at all during that 30-day period was pretty amazing. And if you're somebody that's struggling with depression or anxiety and things like that, I would strongly recommend doing a 30-day carnivore and then reintroducing the foods that you absolutely want to have on a ketogenic diet back into the mix. Foods that should be avoided no matter what fucking diet you're on are grains and sugar and, carbs in general. But you could probably not be keto, have 100 grams of carbs in your life in the form of fruits and some vegetables. As for glyphosate, that is a problem that transcends keto and carnivore. Now, carnivore, I believe, does give you the lowest exposure. However, it's in the drinking water. It's in your surrounding area if you're in an agricultural area. So it's going to be in your food. It's going to be in your water. It's going to be in the water you wash your ass with in the fucking shower. There's not much you can do about it. It's just you do the best you can to not eat the big offenders. And the biggest offenders are grains. Grains, they use desiccation before the harvest by throwing glyphosate right on the motherfucker. And that's giving you the highest glyphosate content. At least the animals that are eating those grains are taking on some of the glyphosate into their bodies because it's binding to their minerals in their bodies before it gets to you. But you're still getting some that way. So the glyphosate issue needs to be solved on a government level, and with the lawsuits going on with Monsanto, I believe that is going to happen. So, Alrighty. Cat in Canada. I think a lot of us feel that if we are having a good time when we are drinking, we don't want to stop it. I know I do, and I am far from a big drinker. And that's true, and, probably might be the underlying psychology on why I binge drink when I drink. But it never ends well. I never really fully continue having a good time. I do find that the 3-drink limit when I do it is a nice, mellow, good time. I don't get stupid. I don't get obnoxious. I don't, fall all over myself. I don't do all the dumb shit. All the fucked up dumb shit that you do when I'm fucking hammered out of my fucking mind, I don't do on that 3 drinks. And that's why I set that limit. Because I want to be as far as I go down the fucking rabbit hole. But you're right. It's easy to get sucked in to the point where it's, you just can't stop the fucking pounding the drinks and shit. And you end up shit-faced. And I don't want to be shit-faced anymore. I want to have the self-control. It's a challenge for me to drink in moderation. Because I know that there's people that exist in life that successfully drink in moderation. Some people say it's impossible. Dude, you're an alcoholic. You can't fucking give it up. You can't be moderate. You have to abstain for the rest of your fucking life. I've heard that speech. But I'm not the kind of person that just sits there and says, well, I can't do it, so fuck. I might as well quit drinking forever. No, I'm the kind of person that's like, I'm going to change myself. I'm going to make it so I'm a moderate motherfucker. You know, I'm going to fix this on my own and prove, not just to the people that are telling me I can't fucking do it, but to prove it to myself that I can drink in moderation, that I can drink in social situations. That way I can partake in these events with the friends of mine that drink. And I'm not faulting the ones who do. And, you know, I hope if one of my friends is watching this, that they don't think I'm judging or I'm standing on some fucking high mountain above wherever the fuck they are. No, by no means. This is a personal choice for me. I don't like how I get. I don't like how bad I can get when I do the binge drinking. And that is something I've taken it upon myself to fix. And at the same time, anybody else around me that finds themselves in that situation, that wants to change, that's being the key, by the way. You can't help somebody who does not want to change. You can show them a better way, but if you just talk to them, it's going to be like, fuck, I don't want to hear any of this shit. That's what's going to happen when you try and change somebody that doesn't want to change. But, Christy is on her way out. Night, Christy. I'll see you later. And, when someone wants to change and they see that you've been changing and they come to you and ask for advice, that's when you can lay it out and say, hey. And that's kind of what this video is for people who might want that advice. Some people will watch this and be like, dude, I'm drinking fucking fifth of fucking vodka right now. I'm watching your shit. That's fine. This isn't something that everyone has to do. There's functional people that get shit-faced on the regular. I've had family members that have been drinking their whole fucking lives, live to their old age. That's just not something I want to risk or do, and that's why I'm trying to do all these extra trips and outside activities that will allow me to step away from the alcohols and shit. Not shit after stepping away from the alcohol. Alrighty. Manuel V, how come I didn't get a notification? I have the same drinking problem, so tough. I don't know why you didn't get the notification. Like I said, YouTube is hard to figure out lately, and I've given up trying to figure out the fucking algorithm. That's why I stepped up my activity on Instagram. I stepped up my activity on Twitter. And, of course, ScottTheTruckDriver.com and my Facebook fan page. And I'm starting to post little snippets of content on all of those platforms to kind of diversify and still be able to grow the channel in case YouTube somehow stifles my ability to grow the channel. So, Manuel V, hey, your girlfriend sings good. Yes, she does. She's a very good singer. Let's see, what else? Simi Davis and band / Tambara. Empty or acidic calories don't help when we're obese. It's a personal decision, but facts are hard to come by. The opposite of binging is abstinence for a while. If steps are not taken to detoxify and heal, then the problems will be back. Yeah, that's what fasting kind of accomplishes for most people, that whole stepping back and detoxifying and healing. And I've been fasting for quite a few years, so I've done many a detox. But at the same time, optimal health in today's food environment is difficult, if not impossible, for some people. And, can't really judge somebody who doesn't go for optimal health, you can find a balance. There is a balance. There is some benefits to having a little bit of bad in your life. You build your strength, your ability to deal with these toxins that we introduce. If you were to try and avoid all of that, you would be opening yourself up to be defenseless when these things happen. So there is something to be said. I forget the scientific term for that, but it's exposing yourself to a toxin or a hardship or a stress to build that muscle, so to speak, or that immunity, and to also keep your gut health balanced. You know, you got to expose yourself to this shit. So let's see here. Let's see if I missed anything up top here real quick in terms of questions. Maria Duran, how do you do that super chat? I want to send $1 million. Well, I would appreciate if you send $1 million. Not a requirement, but there should be a super chat button somewhere. What looks like a $sign underneath the say something shit. And you just click that and you can super chat. What else we got? Sorry, I'm reading through some of the earlier comments that I may have missed. All right. Jeff Beard, I kept a bottle of vodka in the freezer for years after I quit drinking. A trophy in a weird way. And yeah, if you can get through life sober and never drink, that's an accomplishment. And I wouldn't, just because it's not something I'm choosing to do, I find it more challenging to try and be a moderate drinker than I do to be a sober person. I can be sober. It's not an issue. I don't like the idea that I can't control myself when it comes to something like that. That I do not believe alcohol is powerful enough to destroy my ability to stop at a certain number of drinks. That is why I want to accomplish that. But like I said, I'm going to be sober to support Christy's attempt at sobriety, and I'll go return to my moderation afterwards. And plus, taking a step back and being sober for a while can allow you to strengthen that resolve that when you do drink, you will be moderate. You'll have a couple beers or a couple drinks, and that'll be that. You'll switch to water afterwards or coffee or whatever it is. You'll sober up, and that'll be the end of your good time, so to speak. Otherwise, you risk, the more you drink, the more you risk not having a good time or becoming a train wreck or having a good time at the expense of everyone around you, which, not cool if you think about it. So, yeah, there's that. Jennifer Vitt, ever think of going on Naked and Afraid? Your ability to fast for long periods of time would serve you well. Well, if I was going to go on Naked and Afraid, first of all, I'd probably get my ass handed to me. I mean, let's face it. If you've watched any of the survival shit we've done so far, I am not a pro. I am not on that survivally, level. I am an experienced faster, though, so I could do the lazy survival method where you expend the minimum amount of fucking energy and you do a long water fast. Plus, in preparation, if I was to do a challenge like that, be it the 28-day or the 41-day challenge, I would build up the appropriate amount of body fat, which is real easy to do. All you got to do is eat the shit that you were not supposed to eat for a while, and you'll gain all that weight. And then I'd go out there. I would fat adapt 6 weeks prior to the challenge, and then I would go out there fat adapted and fast my way through the contest. Now, I've been watching Alone lately, and that show goes a hell of a lot longer than the 40 days. You cannot win that particular challenge where you're allowed 10 items that from a list and plus the items that they give you on top of that. You can't win that challenge as a faster. You have to be able to find food and survive. and thrive in order to win that 500 grand at the end of Alone. So I'm finding Alone a little bit more educational than Naked and Afraid. Naked and Afraid's fucking entertaining. And it does show you some survival-y things. But Alone, if you're not on the ball both mentally and physically, and you're not out there getting your fucking food and your water and your shelter and your warmth, if you're not taking care of yourself while simultaneously avoiding all of the shit that nature's going to do to you while you're out there, then you don't make it to the end. It's plain and simple. There's always some, you could go up to a year out there on that show. So yes, I would do Naked and Afraid if they offered. Not to say that I would think I would win it, but I would definitely give it a good, solid try. Hopefully further down the road when I got a little bit more fucking survival skills under my belt. Lucas Peard, I can't pronounce your name, Iski. Sorry. Thank you for your donation of 10, whatever that symbol is. So I appreciate it. You guys are really been stepping up and helping me continue this as a means of income and being able to do these videos for a living. It's one of the reasons I'm live tonight is you guys have been so supportive. So let's see. Sammy Davis Band, I missed some things. I had no idea you had a girlfriend. Is this one from before or a new one? This is a new one. It came completely unexpected after I did, not too long after I did that Why I'm Not in a Relationship video. This kind of happened out of the blue, while socially drinking, by the way. And we just hit it off. She's really chill. I enjoy being around her, and there's no pressure. There's nothing on either one of us that is trying to get the other to change. I find that in a lot of my previous relationships, people wanted to change who I am or the things I was doing or my personal habits. There's not any of that going on, and that's a big sigh of relief from past relationships. And we're just taking it one day at a time. We both still have things that we're working on. I still prioritize taking care of myself and my own happiness so that I'm able to function in social situations and friendships and relationships. You got to do the self-care and really get yourself right if you're going to be in a successful relationship, I believe. I don't speak from experience on that because I don't have a whole fucking laundry list of successful relationships under my belt. It's a theory, it's a hypothesis on which I am currently building a relationship on. So, but yes, I do have a girlfriend now. Let's see. Deborah, Scott would be hilarious on Naked and Afraid. I would definitely tune in for that. I probably would just be me. It would be like the channel only with my balls hanging out, pretty much. That's all that would be, And maybe that'd get him some ratings. I don't know. Don't tell him though, because I ain't ready to do that shit yet. I'm not ready to be naked in nature. Funny story, this last outing with the video that's coming out next week, because I had lost my rain gear, I got up in the following morning after our hike, and it was pouring rain, and I wanted to get the fire going, and I had just got, the embers were still there, I got the fire going again, and I got soaked in the process because it started downpouring, and I just kept piling shit on the fire, trying to keep the embers going, trying to keep shit dried out, and to keep the fire going. So I was battling for a good hour and a half, and I got drenched in the process. In addition to that, I only brought one pair of jeans that I was wearing, so I didn't have anything to change into when my jeans got wet. So, long story short, it stopped raining. I went and retreated to my tent at one point. I came out. It stopped raining. I just walked out there in my underwear, carrying all my wet clothes, and then I sat there with the stick of happiness, which is what I call the walking stick that I've been using. And I sat there roasting my clothes like fucking marshmallows over this fire. Meanwhile, a fisherman is out on the lake, and he's just floating by, fishing, and he's looking at me like I'm a fucking nutcase. sitting there in my BVDs, drying my shit out over a fire. So yeah, I think I'd be okay in terms of that in Naked and Afraid. As far as the itchy green shit and the bugs flying up your ass, that's the part I might have a little problem with. So there's that. Dr. MGTOW. I am a social drinker. You have to be willing to stick with your limit or remove yourself from that environment. And I agree. And that's kind of how, I'm doubling down. Seeing people struggle with alcohol has helped motivate me to really hammer in that 3-drink limit going forward. And of course the sobriety right now, because I'm not going to drink until, Christy feels ready to drink. And you're right. Take yourself out. If you feel like you're going to have another drink, stop and leave so that you can't. Another thing I do is I'll only bring enough money to have my 3 drinks. The problem with that is occasionally people buy you a fucking drink. And then you get into that mode where you're like, well, I still got money for another drink. And, you start doing these you talk yourself into it or out of it or mostly into it. And then you end up breaking your limit and getting shit-faced. And, I'm getting better about that. I'm definitely improving in that realm. So, the Neighbor Slayer. I highly doubt corporate sponsors what allows Scott the Truck Driver on Naked and Afraid. LOL. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe they'd allow me. Maybe they wouldn't. It depends on the dollar signs that they think they'd see by me being there. Right now, I'm a small fry. If I had 1 million subscribers and somebody at Naked and Afraid saw that, they might think, hey, we'll put him on there just because he's got people. But right now, I'm not on their radar, and I don't think I'm prepared to do something that challenging. And here's the thing. One of the reasons I'm doing this survival shit, one of my goals is before I turn 50, I'm 42 now, I want to get out there and hike the Appalachian Trail. That's a 6-month, 2,000-mile backpacking trip that is very difficult, can kill you, it's not an easy hike, but is one of the biggest mountains you can climb. I mean, it's something that not everybody can do, for one, and if you do it, the accomplishment, the feeling of accomplishment you would get out of that would be epic. And it's one of the things I want to accomplish and why I've started doing this training and started to learn these things. And I'm one of them learning from trial and error motherfuckers. I get out there, I fuck up, and then I'm like, okay, how do I not do that again? So, Manuel V, super chatted. Thank you. Would you ever consider moving to a cheaper country to be able to live off YouTube more comfortably? I think it would make for great material. I have a lot of friends here and I have family here, and I don't really want to isolate myself that way. I am going to travel, mind you, to some other countries. In fact, doing St. Lucia again this year. But I'm already doing it as a minimalist. I'm able to live. I'm, struggling to keep $15,000 a year income level. And given the fact that I have such a low overhead and my living situation is small, and I'm able to go out and backpack and car camp and do these things that can be really cheap and allow me to do the things I want to do on a budget, I don't feel the need to go to a cheaper country. It's a matter, I could probably live a higher quality lifestyle there, but I don't need that. I'm a minimalist. I really am. I know you may not see it. I have most of my gear that I have is geared towards doing my job. All of the stuff I have, for the most part, functions for photography, videography, doing work for this channel, and pretty much maintaining income streams. Most of the purchases I make now, if I make a purchase, is dual purpose. Part of it is for my hobby, which is, of course, photography, videography, filmmaking, flying drones, and getting out there in nature. And it's also for my business, which is my YouTube channel, my photography gig. I'm working on videography in the process. And, of course, I do the Ubers to fill in the gaps, and, odd jobs that pop up here and there. My part-time job, I now have a regular schedule there, which also prevents me from doing long-term travel, at least, other than sporadically here or there where I can get somebody to cover for me. But for now, I'm managing, and I'm doing the best I can with a low income. The channel could grow. That's the other thing. The channel could grow and become not only enough income to sustain me solely, as in I don't have to do all these other income streams and side gigs and part-time jobs to keep going, but it might even grow to a point where I can employ people to do some of the more shitty tasks or the tedious tasks that I have to do to run this channel, to free up more time to produce more content and then grow the channel even further, which is a goal. If this channel grows to a point financially that I'm able to do that, I'll hire somebody to edit. I'll hire somebody to do social media management and marketing. I'll fill in all these gaps. I'll have somebody that does merchandising. People have been telling me to have shirts for years, but I know if I do that, I'm going to be shipping shirts and fucking designing shirts and ordering shirts, and then somebody's going to say my shirt's fucked up, you asshole, and then they're going to send me a nasty letter, so I got to refund their shit, and they're going to shit that. I'm not ready for that. I'm struggling with time management as it is just to maintain this channel. So that's that's a lot. So if the channel does grow, I'll do that. As for travel overseas, it's on my list of shit to do. I have my passport. I can go. It's just a matter of funding and being able to get there and stay there. I am managing every year to take trips overseas now, it seems. And I'm going to try and continue that trend. I want to go to Iceland. I want to go to England. I want to go to Rome. There's, a lot of places on my list of things to see before I fucking drop dead. And I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to use minimalism and the tools that, I've been building since I left trucking to do that. In the meantime, I don't need to go that far to get that adventure, There's a lot of trails and places around here that allow me to do that. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to places I can get to at any given time. There's going to be road trips. I'm going to go to New Orleans at some point and do a car camping trip, to where I go down there and hang out and see what there is to see there. I want to explore some of the old creepy graveyards that are there too. So, I'm going to continue to travel, and I'm going to share these experiences with you. That's why I diversified the content, because I'm going to do these regardless of whether or not I have to carry a camera and film and work while I'm doing them. I prefer to do the work while I'm doing them because that allows me to continue to generate an income while doing these things that I find very fulfilling and satisfying. And at the same time, sharing that, I believe, is helping other people see that, hey, maybe I should try that. Let me see how that works for me. And that's kind of what my channel's about, is sharing my personal growth and my journey and my escape from corporate wage slavery and debt, and becoming a, kind of a new person from what I was before, because I was a piece of shit before. I feel a lot better, I'm a lot more accomplished, and I think I'm helping a lot more people than I ever did in my entire fucking life, both with this channel and in my personal life. I'm seeing people that I've helped, or, that are at least taking a little bit of my journey and building their own journeys on it. And that, to me, that's fucking phenomenal and shit. So, alrighty. Kay Allen, even now, I like to find inexpensive activities. Sketching, for example. Take a tour of an area periodically. Drawing the scene. That's another thing. we went out and did another exploration of Happy Valley because of the haunting incident. If you're not familiar with that, we captured an EVP that said "fuck you" in a voice of nobody that was there. The short version of that's on Instagram. ScottTheTruckDriver on Instagram. And, you know, we went out to see if we get haunted again. And one of the things I did when we did this, I got a little bored because I wasn't getting haunted in person. So I started light painting again, and then I remembered, you know, hey, I don't get out and shoot photography enough, you know, and creatively. You know, I do client work, you know, I do portraits and events and shit, but I don't enjoy that as much as getting out there and light painting or doing a landscape or shooting some nature shit. You know, those are the things that I'm missing out on, and I needed to get out and do that more. So I'm going to start doing some more light painting and shit. How are we on time here? We've been at about an hour. So, but we'll keep going. You guys are keeping me talking for now. I don't feel like I'm struggling to find anything. Deborah, does your girlfriend drink? Yes, she does. And that's up to her. What she wants to do. I'm not here, you know, I'm not going to pressure her one way or another to stop drinking. If she does it to excess and it becomes an issue, I'll bring it to her attention, you know, but other than that, not everybody's going to do the same journey as me. You know, she's not keto. You know, my girlfriend doesn't do any of this shit that I'm doing really, other than she's starting to come out on our trips with us. But it's not my place to, you know, that doesn't make her a bad person. It doesn't mean that she's going to influence me to do bad shit. A lot of people think that, you know, if we're in a relationship or a friendship with somebody who doesn't do the same shit, I take lessons away from people who do the complete opposite of me. And I use those lessons to reinforce my journey to become, you know, a better person, or to reinforce the things I believe, you know. So I spend so much time on this channel, just, you know, a lot of the videos, the talking head videos I do are inspired by, quite often by people that are doing the exact opposite of whatever the fuck I'm doing, you know. And, you know, it gets me thinking, it gets me reflecting on my life and reflecting on their life, and I'll sometimes bring that to the channel and make a video out of it, because I know I'm not alone in thinking certain things, and and they're definitely not alone in the problems that they're having. And it's my way of you know, dealing with a friend or a loved one that is having a bad time or not on the same path as me, is I'll, you know, I won't go to them necessarily if they want me to, you know, and preach. I'll come here and preach, and they might see it, they might not, but they don't feel that pressure when you're like, you know, or that you're judging them or you're trying to change who they are. In order for someone to change, to really change, they have to come to you. They have to want to change. If they don't want to change, they're not going to, no matter how much you browbeat them, no matter how much you present science to them, or, you know, I've gotten in arguments in the past and I now realize the futility of that. And while I would like for, you know, my girlfriend to get on this journey, and because I think she would benefit greatly from it, not just you know, in the alcohol realm, but also in the health and wellness realm as well. But it is something that she has to do on her own terms, and she has to want to change these things. It's not my place or anyone else's to judge, condemn, or to make her change. And I get a lot of that in the comments of my videos of people that are like, oh, you can't do that, I don't approve, fuck you, I'm leaving, bye. You know, I get those, and that's not how you help people. You don't help people by judging and pointing your finger and saying, you're doing it wrong, you suck. You got to be supportive. You got to, you know, show them how you are doing when they ask. They're going to ask how you're doing. They're going to ask why you do certain things a certain way. And you just share that with them and tell them what you get out of it. But at the same time, you don't want to condemn them when they're not doing it. Or, sometimes I jokingly with my close friends, I'll be like, oh, you're going to eat that? That's death! But they know I'm joking with them, not putting fucking pressure on them that way. So there's that. Let's see here what we got. Whoa. All right. Mr. Anderson returned. I'll move to Norway and worship Odin. You watch entirely. He's been watching Vikings. By the way, Mr. Anderson, I'm not into Vikings, really. It's not my favorite show. I'd rather rewatch Game of Thrones or something if I was going to watch a whole lot of TV. But, hey, to each their own and shit. Christy came back too. Nothing but some creepy feelings last night when we went back. And that's true. I did go over the footage. So the next video is not really going to be a haunted video. I mean, I'm going to share it with you because we did film it. But I was disappointed because I sat and went for about 2 hours last night watching footage. Looking, listening through every ounce. Sometimes there was one point I just left the camera sitting on someone and recording. And I have the problem with ghost hunts is if you're trying to find those EVPs and shit, unless we're lucky like I was on the other video, you gotta really listen, because sometimes the EVP shit's subtle and all of that. And I'm still on the fence on what I stand or the explainability of that. There's multiple things that can explain that, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll just put it that way. We'll figure that shit out as we go. Ultimately, I ended up light painting, so I'm going to share my light paintings in that video that I did that night. They're kind of shitty, but I feel I can get back into it and really do it proper with a proper camera, because all I had with me was the Sony mirrorless, which doesn't do certain things that my Nikon can do. Not to mention my Nikon's just a beast. So I'm going to be getting back into going out and light painting, and I'm obviously going to share that experience as well. And I'll probably talk. And one of the things I'm doing in these adventure videos, before everyone takes shit on them, is I'm trying to integrate something topical to health, wellness, and lifestyle into each video. Like, there was the PTSD video that I did with Mr. Anderson. There was the drinking video that I did with Christy. Even though we were doing an adventure, we were in Happy Valley, we're seeing if we could get haunted. We ended up getting haunted. That video was full of content on multiple levels, We had a discussion about alcohol in the video while she was hammered. There's so much that happened on that. I loved that video because there was just so many different things going on that are just, and it got so real. And at the same time, we got, it just got, that was a good, solid, real video. And that's what I want. I want to, because I think it helps a lot of people. Even though Christy just put that on the screen. You got to understand, Christy, that helped a lot of people seeing that video. Some people don't even know that it helped them. But trust me, it helped people see their own life from a perspective of nobody's perfect. And, I felt, you guys are here in the chat. If you watch that video, tell me, do you think it was a positive result for people to see that and to understand, because we had that deep talk on the trail, and even though you were shit-faced, Christy, you still hung in that conversation and said some powerful things during that. And that helps people. So, that was reference. You said not my favorite video. Well, I didn't know that was reference, but, I'm in these adventure videos, in these, haunting videos, or the car camping trips that I'm going to do, or the other exploration shit. I'm gonna try and integrate nutrition. Like say I do a car camping trip, where I'm going to visit some town or some traction somewhere that has food out in the world. I'm going to talk about keto and how to stay keto during it, because I'm going to have to deal with that. I'm going to talk about fasting my way through shit. I'm going to talk about how to do these things, how my lifestyle has a, I'm going to work these topics into our adventures. And now that we got people that want to come out on these trips and they want to join me in this journey, even though they're only coming in for one part of it, they're going to get a glimpse. And also, I just want to give a shout out to Sherry. I just realized you super chatted, and you super chatted very generously. Keep up the good work, Sherry and Bros wrote. And thank you. Wow. Okay, that means a lot. That's made this a good day for the channel. Financially, so I definitely appreciate you. I think in this particular live stream, you guys have made up for the complete lack of fucking ad revenue from YouTube over this past month, so I appreciate you. Wow. Okay, back to talking and shit. Mystical One, go on bigpictureproject.net and read The Present to see the truth about life, which can change the world from page 1. It's a truth you can check. Nothing is more important than reading it. Maybe I'll go do that if I can remember. Go ahead and put that in the comments later, because I do reference my comments and follow links that people give me to for things that they want me to see. Also, you can go to ScottTheTruckDriver.com. And in the research submission page, put that in there. That's like almost guaranteed to send me down whatever rabbit hole you want. So go ahead and put that in there, and I will get to it when I can. Time management thing again and shit. Deborah, I thought it was one of your best videos yet. And I agree, honestly, because there was just so much to that video. It was not... I have to watch all my own fucking videos all the time, regularly, repeatedly, 3, 4, 5 times before you guys even start clicking on them. When I release them, they have been thoroughly watched and vetted by me. I'm a perfectionist for the most part. Sometimes I leave fucked up shit in, but there's times where I'm watching my videos and I think it's a piece of shit video, and you guys are like, hey, that's awesome. That wasn't the case with this video. This video, I watched it and I thought it was powerful. I could not stop watching it. I wasn't bored watching it. Granted, it's probably because I wasn't the only one in the video for a change, so it's always nice to be entertained by other people. And I agree, and I hope that we keep this real interaction thing on these adventures going, and it just doesn't become like I like to watch other people's adventure videos and ghost hunts and urbex videos, and I find that they sometimes get a little bit boring. They're just walking through and they make some jokes, or they try and be funny, and I try and be funny too. But every once in a while, it I don't feel like shit gets real enough on some of those, and that's why that video stands out to me is shit got real, It was like a reality TV show combined with an adventure video, exploration video. So, it is what it is. That's why, and I hope to do more of those. So, let's see here. Christy just can't stay away. I thought you guys were watching Vikings and shit. You're missing out on all that Viking death action and drinking and shit that they do, and whatever it is Vikings do, conquering shit. So let's see what's going on here. 26 Mrs. G, I have 26 years clean and sober. I identified on many levels. And that's true. One of the things that video does do is reinforce people in their commitment to sobriety or whatever they've tried to do on their journey. And one of the reasons people come to this channel and watch my talking head videos, even though I'm often saying shit that they already know, is for that support of hearing someone else reaffirm what you've been doing, because sometimes you don't get that support around you. The people around you always aren't on that page. And I think one of the reasons this channel has become successful is people are using it as a coaching tool, or just a tool to have a community of like-minded individuals that are doing the same shit they're doing, and to help support each other through that. And that's kind of what this community has become, and what my channel has become over time. And I find it fucking spectacular that this has been such a positive community, even when sometimes I make videos that suck, or sometimes I make shit you don't want to watch. But the support that you guys have given over the past few weeks, when I was really starting to question myself, I was like, oh, maybe I should just not share all of this extra shit. And, I think you guys really stepped up, not just financially, but in terms of the comments. You guys just were very supportive of, keep doing what you're doing, work on you, do your journey. We'll be here and we'll watch. And if we don't like it, we won't watch it all the way, or we won't watch it at all. We'll look at the thumbnail and be like, oh, that's another one of those videos, not watching that shit, and as long as I'm still going to do the talking head videos, much like this live stream tonight. And, I'm still going to give you the content you originally came here for those of you who originally came here for that. But I'm expanding, and that's going to continue. And other people are appearing on the channel. And sometimes someone might come on the channel that rubs you the wrong way, or that you don't agree with. So it's another perspective. It's something else, but I'm not going to turn people down that want to come out and on these trips, because I believe that helps them, even though they might not know it, it might be helping them. So, all right. Deborah wrote, Christy, don't be so hard on yourself. Most of us have done the same thing. Christy responded, that's awesome. Not sure if I'll ever drink again, but I'm taking a break now. It was hard for me to watch it. And then, of course, Mr. Anderson writes, everyone thought I was pissed at Christy in that video, and I was because I'm sick of my best friend fucking up, and I don't have the ability to help her because she never listens to me, and I'm too fucked to help her myself. Wow. Shit's getting real in the comments. Steve, Christy is really trying to work on things, but she's going to fuck up, and we all do. We all fuck up, and you're working on things too. Everyone's working on things. And I think the reason people thought you were pissed in that video is, you really did become introverted and step away, and you weren't yourself for the majority of the video. In the beginning, you were yourself, but if you watch the video all the way through, you can see how you became more distant, and you're kind of just like, fucking, yeah, it was a good time and shit. That's what happened. As for trying to help Christy do this, all you got to do, really, and what I'm doing to help her as a friend, is just kind of be supportive of it. Just kind of, obviously don't offer her a drink while she's trying to be sober. That kind of, that goes without saying. But also, just be like, yeah, you're doing a good job. I'm glad that you're doing this. I appreciate that you're doing this. Having that, having that kind of support, that, pat on the back, that, I'm glad that you're doing this, or I think this is going to help you, that positive reinforcement. Some people can thrive on that, and sometimes it's all that person needs to not fuck up. It's real easy to fuck up if anybody's like talking shit, or if you're fighting about things or anything like that. You just gotta, give them the chance, and they're gonna fuck up. And everyone fucks up. I fuck up. I am probably the king of fucking up. And that's not the important part. It's what you do after you fuck up that really becomes part of your character. If you fuck up and then you double down and you try again, and you keep trying and fucking trying and then trying some more, that is a good person that, realizes they're not perfect, realizes they fucked up, then picks themselves up and tries to heal, tries to get better. And I've witnessed that quality in not just her, but you as well, Steve. And that ability to dust yourself off and try again. And you're probably going to fuck up again. We all are. We're all fucking up. Steve, why do we fall, Scott? To get your fucking ass back up. All right? Yep, that Batman quote and shit. So, yes, we just got to keep trying and encourage those around us who are legit trying, and one of the reasons I'm so supportive of Christy is she's trying keto. She's trying to improve her life. She's trying to, be sober now. She sees and is self-aware of her problems and is working on them actively. And what we can do as friends is support that, nurture that, and when she fucks up, don't condemn her necessarily. Help her get back up on her feet and go again. And that's how we do that. That's how you end up being a supportive friend, is you help them dust themselves off. You don't condemn them. You don't get disappointed. You don't bitch at them. You say, okay, well, you fucked up. I tend to be sarcastic and joke about it when people fuck up. And then I like, well, hey, you can just try again. Just try again. You'll hear me say that a million times, Christy, because I know you're going to fuck up again. And I'm aware of that. Because I did. I've fucked up so many times on this journey. And I still do. And I probably will again and again and again. And I'll just say, just get your ass up, do it again. Get up and do it again. Keep fucking doing it again until you fucking get there. And that is how you do that. All right? That is how you get people to work on themselves. Because if you sit there and you point your finger and you're like, you're wrong, you suck, you can't do this, you're not doing good, what the hell did you even bother for? These are all things I've heard throughout my life from various people. That I can't do things. I can't do things a certain way. I can't, even when I said I wanted to be able to drink socially, people condemned me and said, you can't do that. You have to not drink at all. I'm going to keep trying until I get there. And in just about everything I'm trying to do with my life, that's how I get there. It happened with minimalism. It happened with keto. It happened with fasting. I kept trying. I kept fucking up in the beginning, as far as fasting and keto goes. Minimalism, I'm still in a work in progress there. There's things I need to get cut out. But you just keep trying and trying and trying till you get there. So, alrighty. Christy wrote, John, she's responding to John. John, in my not so humble opinion, you cannot get a stay sober without a 12-step program. And then Christy wrote, John, not positive I'm going to try and stay sober forever. I'm just taking a break. May try moderation at some point. As for the requiring a 12-step program, I believe that is something that's necessary if you don't have a supportive friend or friends to help you get sober. Christy has a support structure. She has a lot of great friends, and they're all being supportive of her right now. And that might negate the need. Plus, her end goal is moderation, not abstinence. And I've been dealing with my addictions for actively for over a year, as far as really trying to research what's behind my addictions and overcome them. And I'm sharing that as well. Could she benefit from that? Yes, there's things that you can learn from those programs that you can't learn from trying it yourself and out here in the world. However, it's something you can't browbeat somebody into doing. Right now, Christy's comfort zone is I'm going to take a break, get my shit straight, then I'm going to go ahead and drink in moderation after that. A noble goal. I can tell you it's hard to do that moderation thing, even after a period of sobriety. I've done it. And there's times where you just get sucked in. But like I said, why do we fall? To get back up and shit. Actually, that's Steve quoting Batman. But you just do it. You do it, you get up, you dust yourself off, and try again. And I have found every time I exercise that rule, that every time you fall down, you get your fucking ass back up and you try again, that you will fucking get there. You'll get there and shit. Eventually. It might take you a while. It might take you a few years. As long as you keep trying, you'll fucking get there, I think. So, let's see here. Mr. Anderson. Wow, you're getting fucking deep in this chat. I owe Christy a lot. She stopped me from killing myself last October, got Alex and Sammy to come over and take my guns. And I don't even know how to respond. That's like hardcore openness going on in the chat room. Christy is a great human being, which is why I'm helping her, which is why I like sharing the things I've done in my journey that I think will help her. And I also think you're a good human being, Steve. Don't be so hard on yourself, because there's things that you've taught me out there that I didn't know. And you know, you have a structured, regimented way about you when you're out there that you don't have so much when you're home. And I think you miss that, and that's one of the reasons you go out with us on these journeys. You know, that get up and go, that keep motivated, you know, set a goal and achieve it mode. I think you need to take that, because you do that on the trail, but I don't see you doing that as much at home. And I think that you could benefit greatly if you applied that drive, that I'm going to get there, I'm going to fucking get this shit done, to your own personal well-being journey. Not to shit you got to get done, or, you know, work or all of that. I'm talking about fixing the problems that you have. Some of which you know, may not be fixable. The PTSD thing, for example, comes to mind. But you could probably improve. Oh, that's my opinion, my humble opinion, since we're getting real in the fucking live stream and shit. So, and Christy's like, Steve, you've just done just as much for me. And that's true too. You've both been helping each other, and that's what makes you good people. Sometimes you're helping each other to your own, you know, sacrifice, and that's the sign of a good person. And that's why I'm here. That's why I hang with these, you know, people. They're, you know, I it's not that I'm very picky on who I call friend. And I call Christy, I call Steve, and of course Lucia is my girlfriend. You know, these are friends. These are real friends. You know, and I'd bend over backwards. You know, don't do anything with that. But I would do whatever it takes to help them get the things that they want to improve themselves. Because I've been doing this a while now, and I've been helping strangers, you know, through my channel. I need to do the same thing in my personal life, and there's an intense amount of satisfaction I get. My friend Chris, you guys might remember from back then, he's been keto for a while. He's at his lowest body weight ever. He still could use a little work in the other areas of his life, you know, because he's got a very hectic, stressful life going, and sometimes there's coping with that as an issue. But nobody's perfect. But he, you know, when I see a friend of mine take something that I've worked hard on my journey to fix for myself, and they start doing it and they succeed, there's nothing more fulfilling in life than to know you help somebody change their life for the better. And I can't really stress how much that, you know, a lot of you watch this and you might be on this journey and you want people around you to join you. And I'm finding that people, when I talk to them or tell them to do this, they roll their eyes. But when I show them, when I show people, like this going out in nature shit, this diet shit, when I show them that I'm successful with these things, then they start asking. They're like, hey, maybe I'll do that. Hey, tell me about keto. I get random messages from friends. Hey, I'm doing a fast. What do you think of this? If you leave people to work on themselves or to come to their own decisions, but show them what you're doing, whether it's a success or a failure, because people can learn from your failures too, that is valuable. And that's probably, the best way to be. So, all right. What else we got here? Melissa Cocker. You guys are very lucky to have each other, and you really show loners like me that connections are so important and they are worth making an effort for. Definitely. You saw me do a lot of solo stuff, being out there on the trail by myself, and there is something to that. But I am a very social creature. I have a lot of friends. I have acquaintances. I have people in my life, and I like having people in my life, And you can't really learn everything on your own. You got to be out there and live life with other people and experience their opinions, even if they don't match yours. I have so many friends that don't even believe the same things I do. My best friend, he's fucking politically different than me. He has different philosophies. He's a maximalist. I'm a minimalist. It's, but we are able to set our differences aside and learn from our differences. That I learn so much from people that don't think and act and agree with everything I say or say. I learn so much that way. And it's a big problem in our society today is we don't fucking do that. We just fucking, everyone's pointing a finger and if you don't believe what I fucking believe, then fuck you. There's a whole lot of that going on in the world today. And I think it's unhealthy for personal development and growth to condemn somebody because they don't believe the same things as you or they don't have the same ideas that you do. I may disagree strongly. I may, debate, and if that person's mature enough to debate and not take it personally, but there are just so many people that I learn from that. And the only reason I learn from them is they don't do and think and act the same way I do. And so that's important. So, Deborah, Wendy, Scott is the new guru. Who is Guro? I don't know who the fuck Guro is and shit. So, John, Alcoholics Anonymous is the only answer. Trust me, if there were an easier way, we would do it. I disagree. I think that is definitely a valid answer for some people. But not everybody can do that. There are other ways of dealing with it. Locking one problem in that one solution box. A lot of the things that I've sorted out with my personal life, I stepped outside those. You can only deal with it this way. For example, depression. You can only get depression if you take the fucking pills and you go to the shrink. If that was the case, I'd still be fucked up. It took a lot of trial and error, a lot of research, a lot of trying things to get where I'm at today, and that's being able to better control that mental health problem that I have. And I still have it. I could go back. I could revert. If I were to revert my diet, I believe a lot of mine was diet related. I still have things that make me sad, but I can cope so much better now because of my lifestyle and diet changes. And I think, and I can't pin it on one thing. I can't say keto just did this, or fasting just did this, or minimalism just did this, or this nature therapy just did this. I can't lump it. I think the whole thing all contributed to my better mental health. And that's why I'm sharing all of that. Not just keto, not just fasting, not just minimalism, not just getting away from corporate wage slavery. I'm sharing the whole journey and shit, and I need some water. I'm on way longer than I thought I would be. Melissa Cocker just contributed. So glad I found your channel. Can't tell you how much I enjoy your work. Well, thank you and welcome. I hope more people come and hang out and shit. Oh, shit. I just noticed Dave and MSP, sorry, I didn't realize it, moderated you out for calling me an asshole. Everybody should know it's okay to call me an asshole by now. Dave and MSP, of course, is a very, very generous, contributor to the channel. Hi, asshole. What the hell are you doing streaming without telling me? Well, quite honestly, I was pressed for time and I wanted to get a talking head video out, and I decided that going live would be the best way to do so. So it was like last minute. I literally an hour before created the chat event. I know I need to go live more. All right. I know I need to do more live streams. It's sometimes difficult to fit in my life. It's easier to record video at odd times. Whereas live streams, you got to kind of do prime time, and I'm going to do more fucking live streams, all right? Maybe every other week. I don't think I can do it every week because I've got the podcast now, too. And that's a big project for Friday, not to mention Friday is also my part-time job after that. So I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to do more live streams. I know I've slacked. I know I've gone more than a month without a live stream. And here I am. I put all of this production work. I got little fucking graphics and shit. You can do the fucking shit. I can, look at the desktop. I got little borders and shit, and pick fucking all this work I put into fucking, going live, and I don't fucking go live enough. So yeah, there's that and shit. So, Maria, a spiritual speaker. I don't know how spiritual I am. I don't know. I'm not sure who. Maybe I'll look into who Guru is since I'm being compared to him. A lot of people compare me to Captain Spaulding too, but I don't think I'm there. Although I sometimes talk like that. So, Mr. Anderson writes, I was afraid Scott would stop doing the camping videos when his channel took a hit. Seeing you guys donate to him, really fucking awesome. Thanks, guys. And like I said before, the camping's part of my personal journey, and it's going to happen regardless of whether or not I make videos about it. I figure why not make videos about it, because that part of the journey, the nature, getting out in nature, battling nature in a lot of cases, and getting that perspective, and just the things that come out during that, even our talks by the fire sometimes, and our, or the things that we discover that really just, I think, can help people step out. Because there's some people that I know I did particularly when I was a truck driver. I lived vicariously through people that did that kind of shit on YouTube. So I know that there's people out there that benefit from those videos. And I just know that it's not my current audience, although that's growing. But I also wanted to bring people in from those genres, that are looking for those kind of videos, so that maybe, just maybe, they'll stumble on one of my talking head videos, and maybe that'll help them with their nutrition, their mental health, their lifestyle choices. Maybe they dream of going out and doing these camping trips, but they can't fucking find the time because of their wage slavery. Well, then minimalism would help. Or maybe they're too sick or too anxious or too nervous to do any of these things. Then maybe the keto and the, the lifestyle changes will help them get themselves mentally in a place, and also free up the time to be able to do these things. These are all these topics kind of blend together on this journey, and the camping trips and the survivalists learning and the even the haunted adventures, or even just the adventures in general, are part of that package. And I think it would have gone over less well if I just did one video a week, talking head, which I could do, I could manage. And then I went out and did all this shit with no camera gear and didn't film it and didn't spend the days of editing for each one of those videos, multiple days in some cases, locked in a room, in this little room with a computer. You get the idea. But I want my channel to be that whole package. I want a diverse content. I want to bring in people that aren't just looking for keto or aren't just looking for minimalism or aren't just looking for fasting. I want to bring in people who are just looking to live vicariously through others because their life isn't allowing them to do the things they really want to do. And hopefully they stumble on some of my other videos and they're like, hey, that's a pretty fucking good idea. Maybe I'll try that. And lo and behold, their life improves. Dave the Baller in MSP, thank you for your rather generous. There's been, I've still blown away every time you contribute to the channel because you've already given so much. I expected you to kind of not do it anymore by now, but you keep being supportive. No matter what decision I make, you have not pressured me in any way to do one thing or another. You just supporting the channel with not asking anything in return, really. And that's that's admirable. That's an awesome quality that you just like, here you go, I'm just helping you grow and shit. Digging the podcasts, glad you're here. Alrighty, and you've made it clear that I need to fucking do more live streams, which are very podcasty. Obviously, you could listen to this and not stare at it and get as much out of it as you would a podcast. But podcasts have been a success. They've been selling fairly well, at least to compensate for the time it takes to make the podcast and post it. So as long as that is met to where, I believe it's worth my time to continue to produce those, I will continue to produce those. If you don't know what I'm talking about, ScottTheTruckDriver.com. There's a weekly podcast. It's $5 a download. Some of the earlier ones are only $2. Or you can go to Patreon.com, and for $15 a month, you get them all for free and shit. So, alrighty. Arthur Brown. Was that you in Scott's graveyard vid, Christy? Yes, she was in that graveyard vid. She was the inebriated one. So, and Arthur was complimenting Christy, saying, you made me laugh and cheered me up. So, yeah, and no, I don't think anyone's going to argue that Christy was not entertaining and funny in pretty much every video she's participated in. So she's definitely a personality, and I hope she keeps coming out and being a guest, because I think she's bringing up things that maybe I might overlook, women's issues in particular. Even though if it's something as obnoxious as having to piss in the woods and how to deal with that, there are things I don't have perspective on, and, that maybe bringing some women out into these trips will provide that perspective, or that bouncing things off of what I'm doing, as far as bringing their perspective into the mix where I otherwise would probably not know to do things a certain way, because I don't know everything. I'm not a fucking guru or a guru or whoever that fucking, the spiritual whatever that was. That's not me. I'm just a fucking asshole truck driver who is a little further on their hike than some other people. And I'm trying to get people to come forward and shit. Christy just got to squat right. So, yeah, that's a true story. I wouldn't know. That's why we need females to come out with us on these trips, so that we can learn, so that everybody can participate, not just, penis bonding or whatever you said in that video because we did have this discussion in that video, on how this is working for men, but not necessarily women. So, and I disagree, and I hope you learned that from our last trip, Christy, when we went out and you were sober. and you realize that you don't have to be a guy to do these things and enjoy. There's plenty of women that get the same thing out of these trips. So, oh, let's see. John, how much to shave that beard? Oh, that's a pretty good question. Let's see. Let me think. I'll do it for 100 grand. 100 grand, I'll shave my beard once. 200 grand, I'll shave it twice. Like, I'll keep clean shave for a period of time for 200 grand. It's affordable, right? It's worth it. All right. Christy, thanks. I'm sure I'll be around for the non-man only trips. And hey, don't just do, you could totally bring some cameras out and do girl trips too. There might be a market for that. Start your channel, make your videos and shit, even if it's just holding your iPhone in front of your face and talking. And that goes for all of you that are watching this that maybe want to, I know people like want to be a YouTuber. It's not easy. It's very time consuming, but document. Even if no one watches your shit, sometimes getting that perspective on the way things are is just what you need to have you do what you're doing, Christy, for example. I can't tell you how many times I've watched myself and made a positive change based on something I didn't like about myself in a video or in a, someone else's video of me. I think there's a video out there floating somewhere of me in a Santa Claus looking bathrobe, drunkenly dancing over, I'm pretty sure that's somewhere in the internets. And, I looked at that and I'm like, yeah, that's probably why I shouldn't binge drink. So, it's not like I haven't done this. So, let's see here. Let's see. Christy might look into a shiwi. I wouldn't know anything about that, but that's probably a thing if you're gonna be out in the woods and shit. 100K, will you take a check? As long as it doesn't bounce, you can send that check to actually, if you look in the credits to all of my videos and in the description, there's a mailing address. Send the 100 grand check there. I'll be happy to cash it. Very happy to cash it. In fact, in addition to shaving my beard, if you sent me 100 grand, I would probably focus more heavily on the channel, not accept clients or any of the other side gigs. I wouldn't necessarily quit my part-time job because I don't really do that as much for the money as I do for the enjoyment. And, but who knows? Maybe I could hire somebody and produce more content too. Maybe that would be the kickstart I need to get things going and grow the channel more. In addition to shaving my beard, if you really want to pay 100 grand for me to shave my beard and see what's under this beautiful mane of happiness that's really gray and gnarly and shit. What do you have against beards anyway? Why can't you just let the beard alone? What did the beard do to you? And shit. Alrighty. So now it looks like everyone's kind of bullshitting. Let's see what else we got. Mr. Anderson's like PayPal. I don't think you could do 100 grand through PayPal. I'm pretty sure like the government would come along and be like, no, or something. I'm pretty sure PayPal has a limit and 100 grand would be a little bit high or something. So, what else we got going on here? Did I miss anything cool? Let me scroll up in the chat, see if I saw any good questions or anything. I think we're just about ready to wrap this shit up. It has been almost an hour. Let's see, I started at what, 8:30, 9:30. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours. We're almost 2 hours. That's a nice, decent podcasty length video and shit. So let's see. I'm not seeing any other questions. You guys are just pretty much bullshitting at this point. Deborah, too bad we all live so far apart. I'm in Toronto, Canada. Toronto is not that far. I used to drive as a truck driver to Toronto every day. And that brings up a good point. I know in the future that as I travel, as I do these road trips and shit, that we might have to have little channel get-togethers or meet and greets or whatever, as long as y'all promise not to murder me or do anything weird. I plan on, maybe I'll be in your neck of the woods at some point. I think I'm going to start to put a list of places I would like to visit or that we're planning on visiting, not necessarily with time frames, so that some of you who may live in the areas that we go to might want to come out with us and, meet us and go out on one of these trips. I'm all for doing that, as long as you're normal-ish, By normal-ish, I mean you're not going to murder us or do anything weird, But, yeah, I mean, I do plan on making meet and greets and hanging out a thing going forward as part of the community. I mean, you guys, especially for those of you who have been here a long time, some of you have been on my channel for 3 years, and I'm just like, it would be stupid of me to not, to be in your neck of the woods, so to speak, and not hang out or say hi or, just stop out and get to know you as a bit. And for you to get to know me a little more too. So yeah, that by all means. But yes, Toronto is not that far from Syracuse. It is approximately, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 4 hours total. Yeah. Plus, that's with border time. I used to do it quite often. Alrighty. Deborah, when D. Scott had videos without his beard? Yes, I did. A long time ago. I think there was maybe 2 videos where I was trimmed down pretty low. I'm trying to think. But, yeah, I don't think anything currently on the channel I shaved my beard off. No. Beard's pretty much been here since the beginning of fasting, so no. It was shorter back then. You know what? Just because you guys have asked and you've hung out in this podcast so much and you're obsessed with what I might have looked like beyond the beard, I will, in the next video after the credits, this is between us, the high stamina motherfuckers that watch the whole thing through. At the end of the next video, I will post a couple of old pictures of me with no beard. Of course, I was fatter, but no beard. And you can judge away and shit. Maybe it'll save you $100,000 and shit. So, alrighty. I think it's time to say the goodbyes for this particular live stream. So thank you guys for coming out. It's been quite the chat we had, and thank you guys for your support. Deborah, I promise not to murder you. Scott, oh, thank you. But it could happen. I've heard stories of like stalkers going after YouTubers and shit. Wow, the filtered out Christy talking about snacks and shit. So, John's got the truck driver t-shirts. I know. People have been asking me to come up with a shirt, and I have some ideas for a shirt, but I'm waiting till I'm big enough to pay somebody to handle shipping and marketing merchandise. I do not have the time in my current life to manage that as a business. Believe it or not, just managing the podcast has required me to do more in terms of customer service. Because iPhone, for some reason, doesn't fucking download my podcast properly from the link. So I have to always go and manually give them the podcast whenever somebody with an iPhone buys it. So stuff like that, that's time away from content, time away from research, time away from life and friends and journeys and, So with time, if the channel grows to the point where I can merchandise, I will. Just it requires a team. one-man band right now. Well, not really a one-man band, you know. Of course, we got Christy and Steve and Mike and various other people that have been coming out. Lucia now has come out. They're part of the team when we're out there. They're helping me produce that video in many ways. Like, you know, even Christy will be holding the camera while completely shit-faced, like in that one video. You know, it's... So I'm building a team. I just can't pay motherfuckers yet. So when I can pay motherfuckers, I'll start having that. So anyways, I don't know what the hell. There's some weirdness going on in the chat and shit. All right. So if you liked this live stream and you found this educational and fucking enlightening and shit, please head to ScottTheTruckDriver.com and leave a tip in that virtual tip jar if you're watching it after the fact. People here have already been very generous in the super chat, so there's that. Hit the bell, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We need to grow this shit. And we need to reach more people and help more motherfuckers fix whatever they're trying to fix. Might not be the same thing you're trying to fix, might not be the same thing I'm trying to fix, but there's enough little nuggets in these videos, so to speak, that can help us get there, help us improve our shit. You know, whatever that shit may be. And I can't tell you how many times, you know, I've watched some videos in personal growth and development where I might not agree with the whole fucking video, but there's nuggets that I pick up that help me on my journey. And I'm hoping I'm leaving some of those little nuggets of shit for people to further on their journey or something. So, I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, I am not an expert. I'm just an asshole. I am not a replacement for AA. You know, I know that one of you was nervous about that. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for me, and, you know, as far as my friends who would ask me that, I believe there's no, like, lock yourself in a box way of dealing with a situation. There's more than one way to fix things in your life. And it wasn't until I stepped outside of the box of what I was told to do for health, for what I was told to do for mental health, for what I was told to do for mental health, you know, for all of these things I was told to do something about a certain way. You know, I've been to therapy, I've been on antidepressants, you know, I've had all of that. I was told to go to the gym, eat less, move more. All of that didn't work for me. And it wasn't until I stepped outside of the box saying, you can only do it this way, that I fucking managed to fix some of this shit in my life. And now I'm so inspired by that I'm going to keep doing it that way. I'm going to keep stepping outside the box and looking for ways of continuing to do that, to fix and journey and share that along the way. And hopefully someday I won't have to work on it. But no, I'm always going to work. I'm always going to be fixing something or improving. I don't think you should ever stop trying to improve and to work on the things in your life. I think there's always something that needs to be overcome or improved. And I think the minute we stop doing that, that's when we lose. That's when our lives just go off the tracks and derail, because we're no longer trying to fix things. We're just trying to forget things at that point or something. That was fucking deep. So, have a nice motherfucking day and shit. And I didn't update the credits to this month yet, but I will be doing so for the next video and shit. See y'all tomorrow on the podcast. Also, for those of you who have been purchasing that, I will be doing another podcast tomorrow and uploading it before I go to work. So, have a nice motherfucking day and shit. And thank you to everyone who contributed the super chats. Oh, I should give a real shout out to the super chats before. Oh, Michael B just super chatted while I was about to do the shout outs to the super chatters. As soon as I can. Why isn't it letting me pull this shit up? All right, open a new window. Open link in new tab. All right, so thanks to these super channers, of course, Mr. Anderson contributed. And you really don't need to contribute, Mr. Anderson. You contributed by being in the videos. Ron S., Mrs. G., Chad Metzger, Lucas I can't pronounce your last name, Ski. Manuel V., Sherry Ambrose, Dr. Migtow, who's sent me some camping shit that I've been using. I'm struggling with the weight of that lantern, but the fire striker's been going out with us. Melissa Cocker, Dave, and MSP, as always, thank you, because you're one of the most generous contributors to the channel. And of course, Michael B. So thank all of you for helping keep this going. And